The small bell above the bakery door jingled softly as Emily Carter stepped inside. Her cheeks were flushed from the cold, but her eyes were red for a different reason. She clutched her phone tightly, her fingers trembling as she approached the counter. "Hi, Mrs. Jenkins," she began, trying to sound composed. I need to cancel the birthday cake I ordered for my son, Noah." The older woman looked up from her notebook, her warm smile fading. "Oh, sweetheart, the blue dinosaur cake, right? For his 7th birthday," Emily nodded. "Yes, that one. I'm so sorry, I know I already paid the deposit, but I can't afford the rest right now. My boss cut my hours again at the diner. Things are just tight." Mrs. Jenkins' kind eyes softened. "Don't worry, dear, I understand." But as Emily turned to leave, she couldn't stop the tear that slipped down her cheek. "I told Noah we'd have a party this year," she whispered. "He was so excited. I'll just tell him the bakery oven broke or something." The bell jingled again as the door opened. A tall man in a navy blue suit walked in, polished and composed, the kind of person who didn't seem to belong in the little neighborhood bakery. He was Alexander Grant, a name most people only read about in magazines, one of the youngest billionaires in the tech world. He stood quietly behind Emily in line, scrolling through his phone, until he heard the tone in her voice. Something about her sadness caught his attention. After Emily left, Mrs. Jenkins sighed. "Poor thing, works day and night to take care of that boy. I hate seeing her struggle like this." Alexander looked up. "She canceled the cake." Mrs. Jenkins nodded. "For her son. His birthday's tomorrow. She couldn't pay the rest." For a moment, Alexander said nothing. His sharp businessman's expression softened. "Do you know her name?" "Emily Carter. She lives over on Maple Street. Good woman. Tries her best." He nodded thoughtfully. "How much was the cake?" $50, give or take." Alexander smiled faintly. "Then let's make it 500. Keep the same design, but make it special, extra decorations, maybe some cupcakes too. Deliver it to her place tomorrow morning." Mrs. Jenkins' eyes widened. "Sir, that's too generous." He shook his head. "Don't tell her it's from me. Say someone wanted to make sure her little boy had a happy birthday." When Alexander stepped out of the bakery, the chilly wind hit his face, but he hardly felt it. Memories stirred. His own mother, struggling to raise him alone after his father left. He remembered one birthday when she'd cried because she couldn't afford a cake. That night, she'd baked him one from flour and cocoa powder, burnt at the edges but made with love. He'd promised himself he'd never forget where he came from. Now, seeing Emily, it felt like life had brought him full circle. The next day, Emily woke to the sound of a delivery truck outside. She rubbed her tired eyes and stepped onto the porch, still in her robe. "Morning," a cheerful voice called. It was Mrs. Jenkins, holding a beautifully decorated cake box. The smell of vanilla and frosting filled the air. Emily blinked in confusion. "Mrs. Jenkins, I told you to cancel." "I know," the woman said gently. "But someone already paid for it. Said they wanted your son to have the best birthday ever." Emily's mouth fell open. "What? Who?" Mrs. Jenkins smiled mysteriously. "They didn't say. Just that kindness should be shared." Emily felt her throat tighten. Tears welled in her eyes as she lifted the lid. Inside was the most stunning cake she'd ever seen, a bright blue dinosaur surrounded by little trees made of sugar. In perfect lettering across the top, it read, "Happy 7th birthday, Noah." When Noah came running to the door, his eyes went wide. "Mom, you got it. You really got the cake." Emily dropped to her knees, hugging him tightly. "Yes, baby, someone special made sure you did." They spent the afternoon decorating their tiny living room with paper streamers and balloons from the dollar store. Noah couldn't stop smiling. For once, the weight on Emily's shoulders felt a little lighter. But the surprises weren't over. Later that evening, there was another knock on the door. Emily opened it to find the same man from the bakery, the one in the navy suit. He held a large box wrapped in silver paper. "Hi," he said kindly. "I'm Alexander. I met Mrs. Jenkins yesterday." Emily frowned slightly, unsure. "Oh, hello. Did you need something?" "I heard about your son's birthday," he said softly. "I wanted to drop something off." He handed her the box. Inside was a small remote-controlled car and a card that read, "Every child deserves to celebrate their special day." "You're doing an amazing job, Mom." Emily's lips parted in shock. "You were the one who..." Alexander smiled faintly. "Let's just say I know what it's like to have a mom who never gave up." Tears filled her eyes again, but this time they were happy ones. You didn't have to do this. I don't even know how to thank you. He shook his head. No thanks needed. Just promise me something. When life gives you the chance to do something kind for someone else, take it. She nodded, her voice trembling. I will. I promise. Inside, Noah's laughter echoed as he played with his new toy, the cake half eaten on the table. Emily stood at the door, watching Alexander walk back to his car, the fading light of the sunset catching the edge of his suit. Before he left, he turned back and said, "Tell your son happy birthday from a friend." As his car disappeared down the street, Emily stood there, heart full, realizing that sometimes, angels didn't have wings, they wore suits and showed up when you least expected them. That night, as she tucked Noah into bed, he whispered, "Mom, this was the best birthday ever." Emily smiled, brushing his hair back. "I think so too, sweetheart." And somewhere across town, Alexander sat alone in his penthouse, looking out at the city lights, a rare smile on his face. For all his wealth, all his power, that small act of kindness had made him feel richer than he'd been in years. Because sometimes, it's not the grand gestures or millions in the bank that matter, it's the quiet moments when you choose to make someone's world a little brighter. The bell above the bakery door jingled softly as Emily Carter stepped inside. She clutched her purse tightly, her eyes red and tired. The scent of freshly baked bread filled the air, but it didn't comfort her, it only reminded her of what she couldn't afford. "Good morning, Emily," said Mrs. Jenkins, the kindly bakery owner. "You're early for the pickup tomorrow, aren't you?" Emily swallowed hard. "Actually, Mrs. Jenkins, I came to cancel the cake. The one for Noah's birthday." The older woman looked up from her order book. "Oh, sweetheart, the blue dinosaur cake. His 7th birthday, right?" Emily nodded, her voice barely a whisper. "Yes, I'm so sorry. I know I already paid the deposit, but I can't manage the rest this week. My boss cut my hours at the diner again. I'll tell Noah the oven broke or something." Mrs. Jenkins's face softened with sympathy. "You don't owe me an explanation, dear. Life's tough sometimes." Emily gave her a sad smile, then turned to leave, wiping her eyes. The bell jingled again as the door opened behind her. A man stepped inside, tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a crisp navy suit that practically screamed success. He looked slightly out of place in the cozy neighborhood bakery, but his eyes were sharp. Observant, he watched as Emily hurried past him, mumbling a quiet, "Excuse me." The faint sound of her sniffles lingered as the door closed behind her. Mrs. Jenkins sighed. "Poor girl, works so hard, but life keeps throwing her curveballs." The man approached the counter. "Everything all right?" he asked. Mrs. Jenkins glanced at him. "Oh, it's just Emily Carter, single mom, good woman. She'd ordered a cake for her son's birthday tomorrow but can't afford it now." The man's expression changed, his jaw tightened, and his eyes grew distant. "How much was it?" $50, she replied. He reached for his wallet. "Make it 500, keep the same cake, but add some cupcakes and extra decorations. Deliver it tomorrow, and please, don't tell her who paid." Mrs. Jenkins's eyebrows rose. "Sir, that's too much." "Not for a child's birthday," he said quietly. "Every kid deserves to celebrate." She smiled softly. "You're kind. What name should I put on the order?" He paused. "Just mark it as a friend." As he turned to leave, Mrs. Jenkins finally recognized him from the business magazines she kept behind the counter. "Wait a minute, are you Alexander Grant?" He raised a finger to his lips. "Let's keep that between us." Outside, the man slipped on his sunglasses and walked toward his car, his thoughts far from the stock market or board meetings. He remembered his own childhood, a cramped apartment, a flickering heater, and a mother who'd once cried because she couldn't afford him a cake. That night, she'd made one from pancake mix and cocoa powder, calling it a birthday surprise. It was burnt on the edges but made with love. He'd promised himself that one day, if he ever made it, he'd make sure no child felt that same disappointment. Now, fate had given him the chance. He glanced back at the bakery once before driving off. The memory of his mother's tired smile flickered in his mind, and for the first time in a long while, Alexander felt something he hadn't felt in years, warmth. Tomorrow would be a special day for a boy named Noah Carter. And neither he nor his mother had any idea what was coming.